Of fake news and police helicopter cover-ups for October 4th. So I left off after the psychotic event where I thought he was actually back to harassing me and going insane and trying to kill me and not doing cover-ups, where he then left and went up Eldorado Park. And then so I didn't see him for 7 minutes. At 2:10 he went up into the park, and then at 2:17 he came back going left to right in the Copter pocket across the street. A Copter pocket that actually doesn't exist though, so that's not a premise to start off. And he was doing a right swoop to cover up for the straight line dart. So he's like on a right tilt and swoop to cover up for the straight line dart that originated at 24092 down the street with the fake transformer fire. And then at 2:46, I found him doing power circles at Geronimo Mantilla intersection, but at a higher altitude. So for everything they do, if any damning event, they just change the variables, but they do it like non-methodically. So for instance, like if they do something, they'll fly backwards and then do it that way, therefore it's covered up. So he was flying at a higher altitude to vary the altitude, and now it's at a point where if you just have one connection, that's good enough. So for instance, flying slow over 24092, just flying slow, is now equivalent to doing power circles for a half hour or 45 minutes, and then doing circles and then going low for like 1 second, 2 seconds is also enough, I guess, equivalent to cover up doing power circles at that low altitude for 45 minutes. So those are the things I'm talking about. They just touch the extreme. That's what they did, and then they try to say that it's a regularity. So he did a higher altitude variation, and then at 2:48 he returned closer behind 24191, and that's because what I was saying about this last part I said about the regularity and touching each thing. So there were specific events at Geronimo Mantilla and then also behind 24191 doing power circles. And so if you do a large circle that incorporates that whole entire area, then those smaller ones are supposedly mitigated. So he did, the reason why he did this part too is because of the time when I was down at the park recording him, and then I ran out of app storage space, so I deleted some apps when I came back to my house, and he followed me back to harass me some more because dispatch told him he's got the green light. So I deleted the apps and recorded him. And that was proof that supposedly their whole argument is that I'm a psycho idiot running around recording people that have nothing to do with me. And so that was proof that he had everything to do with me and came back to harass me. And so they were doing an exact cover-up of that. And also I find that odd because a lot of their exact cover-ups have fake news links attached to them. So it's funny that there are situational news links that have them in the same exact spot as things that they claim to be routine surveillance. And so then he left that area and he did a left and went up Eldorado Park, which is towards Montevideo Elementary School. And then at 2:51, he came back over my roof again from 24162, and he was waving the tail. And then he kind of made a right. So he came back out of the park, a little bit of a left over 24162, and then made a right back over my head. And then he did a straight line dart at 2:52 back into the Copter pocket, and he went left to right if you're looking across the street from me, so out towards Geronimo Alicia area. And then I heard Copter sounds for the next hour, and I just couldn't see him, couldn't find him. And then at 6:55 I heard Copter sounds, and then at 7:08 I saw him approaching from Geronimo Mantilla, and he had red flashing lights on the front. And he mobbed up, and I guess because I wasn't fully aware at this time, but they were doing cover-ups in the military copter turn, so he mobbed up, and I only became fully aware today that they're trying to use the 2-story house and the tree as part of the landmark that's included with the hill to say that it's like so significant that people have to move around it. So he came up towards me from Geronimo Mantilla and went down, made a bit of a turn and ascended at 24191, and then went right behind the 2-story house tree, and then went out and crossed over 24092. And so he did a swooping right up towards it too to cover up for the straight line dart that he did from it. So now, just like all the other logic, this is a swooping fast line towards it, so it's going backwards against the original, and it's also a swoop instead of straight. So then it's all covered up. And so that's the end for October 4th.